This section is an introduction to line equations. There are three types of line equations that we'll need to know here: horizontal lines, vertical lines, and slanted lines. Now, every line has an equation associated with it. It has an equals in it, and one or more variables. Now, a line equation that involves y only is a horizontal line. And so that's one of the things we want to look for is, does our equation involve just y? Because if so, then it must be a horizontal line equation. If our equation involves x only, such as this one, x equals 1, then this must be a vertical line. Vertical lines don't have a y in them. If our line equation includes both y and x, then it has to be a slanted line. So those are the things that we want to look for. We want to definitely be able to tell what type of line we're dealing with before we even graph it. It's really critical to have that skill. Let's try graphing a couple on the next page here. Okay. First one is y equals 0. Think about what type of line this is. So notice that our equation involves y only. And that's the first thing to recognize. So what type of line is it? This is a horizontal line. Sometimes people get it confused because the y-axis is vertical. But what we're saying here is that y has to be some number. And the y cannot change, is what that says. Which means you can't go up and down. The only options are you could go left or right. And so the equation becomes what is known as a rule for all the points that we're about to graph. All the points have to obey the rule. So at this time, we want to find coordinate pairs that we can graph as what are called solutions to our line. Those will be points on the line itself. And then from those points, we can graph that line. So you have to start by making a choice here for either x or y. And the only one condition is you can't contradict the given rule. The given rule is y equals 0. So whatever you put down, it can't go against that. Okay? So it's like, do you want to pick x or y? In this particular case, you can pick anything for x. X is unrestricted because the rule is not about x. Okay, you can't put certain values of y down and be correct. Like, for example, I can't put a 2 there. That would be wrong. The reason why is I have to agree with the given rule that y equals 0. So I can't put 2 there. I can't put -4 there. I can't put anything there except 0. It has to agree. But when it comes to x, I can pick anything, and I can't be wrong. I'll try -4. The rule didn't mention anything about x, so far so good. What you want to do now is put them together into a coordinate pair. And then we could go on to plot that coordinate as part of our line. Now it takes 2 different points to construct a line. So let's come up with another point. And again, when it comes to x, I can pick whatever I want. I'll pick 1. That makes our pair 1, 0. That's a point right here. That's all we need really to plot our line. I'll make just two more coordinates though, just for fun here. Let's pick 0 and we'll do 3. 0, 0 is a solution, and so is 3, 0. Plot those points. As you can see, what we're forming here is definitely a horizontal line, so that's in agreement with what we had said above. Now we just want to connect the points. And, you know, we could label them if we like. We should label our line with its formula. There we go, it's done. We created a line equation. Let's check out the next one though. And we want to think about what type it is. So notice here, our equation involves both x and y. So when that happens, what type of line do we have? It's a slanted line. It means that as x changes, y changes with it. They have a relationship. In this particular case, when you have a slanted line, you can't be wrong in the first number that you put down. Like you could pick an x or you could pick a y, and you won't be wrong with that first number that you put because every x and every y will appear somewhere on the line. But where you would be wrong is if you pick one number for x that's arbitrary and then pick some other arbitrary number for y. Chances are that those two together do not make a solution of this line equation. In order to prove that they don't, what I could do is I could use the rule by plugging in the y that I had picked and the x that I had picked, and I see that the rule doesn't hold for this combination of x and y, so it's not correct. So instead of arbitrarily picking the y here, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use the given rule, the equation, to lead me to what the y should be. In order to do that, you copy down the equation, but you put in place of x the number that you had picked. And then you want to do that multiplication to produce the output. See, it's a function here where the x is the input, you plug it in, and the y is going to be the output. In this case, the correct y that goes with x of 1 is 2. So let's put them together into a pair, 1, 2, and we'll just plot that point. Okay, now it's time to pick another set of x and y. Let's try 0. Okay, so x is 0. Y equals 2 times x. So y turns out to be 0 as well. And then just put them together into a coordinate pair and plot that. Okay, so far there's a slant to the line, and that's good. Let's try -2. Now we got -2, -4. So you can see why it's so critical to know what type of line that you have, because the procedure is different depending on whether you have a slanted line or horizontal or vertical. Okay, let's just connect them. Okay, and label our line. Y equals 2x. Nice. All right, we'll try just one more here. Equation is x equals -2. Notice that our equation involves x only. So what type of line is that? Well, even though the x-axis is horizontal, when you restrict x to a particular value, such as -2 here, it means you can't move left and right from that spot. You can only go up and down. So this is a vertical line. All right, now we can decide whether we want to put an x down first or a y. That's the process here. So when it comes to y, it's unrestricted. It's not talked about in the rule. So you can't be wrong with whatever you put down there. When it comes to x, though, the number you put down could be right or wrong depending on what it is. If I put, let's say, a 4 here, then that's wrong. Okay. Why is it wrong? Because the rule says x has to be -2. So you can't put 4 and you can't put 0 and you can't put -5. None of these would be correct. It has to be -2. Okay, now we're in agreement with the rule. So when it comes to the y, we can pick anything. We can pick 0, -3, and 4. It's whatever. So -2, 0, -2, -3, and -2, 4. Let's plot them. As you can see, that approach does make a vertical line. And we'll label it. Nice.